How about you guys? How was your? I think we talked last time we talked. It was for sure preseason, and how'd it go?
You
How was it?
you called it. You said that with no hunting in Canada, you thought the migration would be off, and the weather was bad, but we didn't. I think the duck numbers are skewed. I don't think we have the ducks they say we do,
I I agree.
and
I agree.
I think the duck numbers are way off. I think they've undercounted the speckle belly, but we had the shittiest hunting season I've had in 30 years of being in business.
Yeah, I think the numbers are skewed, and I think flooded corn is a major major factor in what's going on right now.
You think it's just holding
Major.
ducks just because they don't have to leave? Or you think that they just have everything?
They have everything. They don't have to leave, and they can be nocturnal.
Well,
Nocturnal.
they have become not. I know a lot of guys that have hunt clubs in different places in Nebraska, Missouri, and they said that you don't see the ducks till dark, and they pour in they feed all night long now.
I saw it. I saw it in 3 different regions, and without like unsolicited chatter, listened to them talk about it, including the clubs, right? And especially like the DIY guys, which you know how me and Brandon are into the like DIY dudes,
Right.
and it's just it's eventually the community's going to have to get together and spearhead this, because I don't think you can leave it up to I don't think you can leave it up to the government. I don't. I think we're going to have to get together and start having real conversations. You guys for sure, because of your podcast. I was just on one a couple weeks back with Byers Hunt Club down in Arkansas, and Jimbo Ronquist from R&T, and a dude named Doug Miller, and another cat. And we sat and talked one night, and we talked about what we're seeing in different regions and what we're hearing. So let's say, well, just because he says that, it doesn't mean it's true. I agree with that 100%.
Right.
Everybody's got to vet their, like, why are you saying this, right? Well, start asking people. Start asking people what's going on. I mean, I can promise you guys this. Look, I'm 60 years old right now. I've been hunting ducks my whole life, and I mean my whole life. And I've been in Canada since 1974. Greenheads don't even act like the same duck they used to act like,
Right. In what way?
right? Well, and it's all pressure related,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I think a number of big factors are they're hunted on their food every day.
Mm-hmm.
Every day, from when they can, when it's legal to when it's not legal, from morning to dark, they are hunted on their food. Ducks were never hunted like that before. We hunted ducks on the water, right? Okay, so that has a big effect to it. Years ago, you remember like seeing like those photographs I'd take of those just massive, massive bunches of greenheads late in the year up in Canada, right?
Right.
They're not even there anymore. They're gone. They're over the top of that. I have lots of friends in the Dakotas. The ducks just aren't stopping there like they used to. They're over there. They're in areas. They're sitting on massive, massive areas of flooded corn. It's just, and once they imprint
Right.
to what's going on, it's really hard to get them off that, right? So I talk to people all the time that are like, oh, like, well, Jeff Foils.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Me and Foils were talking one day, and he's like, this is going to be an excuse my French deal here, but Foils goes, oh, these Mallards, they're so fucked up, dude, right now. He goes, I know this area. He grew up in that area. He goes, I know this area as well as anybody, right? And how you can have 280,000 greenheads that are literally minutes from you and only see 5 in a day. And as soon as the sun goes down and they start coming out, he goes, what the hell are you supposed to do about that?
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
That's happening
And
in a lot of areas.
in a lot of areas it's happening, not just
That's what I hear.
right.
I'm not saying I've seen it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying through my travels in 3 different regions, I did see it. I saw it twice.
So the numbers of birds harvested should go way down with this, I would think.
You guys, you know Jimbo, right?
Yes. Not we don't know
You
him
ever had
personally.
him on?
No.
That dude's fun to talk to because he's into the numbers, right? And he researches, he does his homework, right? And he's really fun to talk to. But yeah, then my buddies of mine in like Missouri and Kansas and Nebraska and Oklahoma, Arkansas, all of those states are talking about the same thing. I think it's going to become definitely a popular topic, but I'm not going to say it's going to be a fun one. You know, I'm not saying it. You know, it's definitely a debate for sure.
You brought up a really cool point though, talking about this. I talked to a guy 3 years ago, and I'm not going to mention his name, but he has a hunt club in northern Oklahoma, and he told me 3 years ago. He said, "Jeff," I said, "How's the hunting been?" He said, "The mallards only fly at dark now." I said, "What do you mean?" He said, we can hunt all day, and he said, we'll kill some gadwalls and we'll kill a few ducks. He said, well, I'm not saying we're not killing ducks, but he goes, you can go out here at 9 o'clock at nighttime, and this place is full of ducks. And he goes, they don't come in until shooting times are over. And he said, then in the morning they're gone, and they're feeding all night long. And he said he was noticing that trend was happening, so they were going to do away from planting flooded corn, and they were going to try to do something else and see if the ducks would come in.
Moist soil?
I guess. But still, I mean, if they're feeding at night, what's happening is we're taking a whole species of the king duck right now, and we're going to change his genetics to where he's only going to feed at night if we don't watch it.
Turning them into white geese.
Yeah.
Well, let's face it, without mallards, we don't have a job. Neither one of us.
Right.
That's right.
Okay?
Yeah.
Here's the first time that I saw them nocturnal, and it was outside of Pierre, South Dakota, probably 10 years ago. I was out there late hunting greenheads, and there was a pile of them on the river, right? A pile. Oil slicks. That's what it looked like. Never move all day, right? Mm-hmm. And then I was on top of a bluff one night, and I knew they were coming off, but you couldn't see them because it was getting too late. So I took my binoculars over this field, and I was glassing over this cornfield, this pick cornfield, and I could see the greenheads moving through the tops of the pick corn, like flying literally like 3 feet off the ground. And I mean, massive numbers, right? And I'm like, holy shit, man, these things are, well, I bet there was a day when whitetail bucks weren't nocturnal.
Right.
I mean, I don't know how long ago it was, but
same thing.
I mean, we're doing it.
We're
doing
pressure.
it. Oh, it's all pressure. I find that like the term our ducks are stale.
Mm-hmm.
No, dude, they're not stale. They're pressured. That's a nice way of saying it. But so I think we really have to have real conversations about, as a community, what we have to do, what we should at least bring to the table and talk about.
You know,
I think
me and Andy have argued about this, or not argued, because I will say there's more hunters now, and he says, well, numbers don't show that there was more hunters in the 70s than there are now. Well,
I think it's per capita,
but
there might, and I'll look up the numbers.
But
I think, well, go ahead, and then I'll hop in.
In 30 years of doing this for a living and hunting my whole life, but really 30 years of being in the waterfowl business, when I first got in business, there was now the Texas coast had a bunch of outfitters because everybody went to Eagle Lake and Katy Prairie. That was the goose place to go shoot the white geese. But when I got in business, there was a couple of guys out here in West Texas that hunted, and very unprofessional, most of them. That's why we made it and they didn't, probably. There was nobody in Lubbock hunting. There was 2 guys up around Amarillo, maybe 3. There was in North Texas, from me to the New Mexico border up to the Oklahoma and the Panhandle, there might have been 4 people 5 people taking hunts and getting paid to hunt. And I started doing it full time, and I think I was probably the first full time outfitter that's what I did for a living. There wasn't nobody in Oklahoma that I knew of that was running much of operation. I didn't know anybody in Kansas. Well, shit, now there's 200 or 300 outfitters in that area now between Kansas, Oklahoma, and North Texas. And some of them run 3 or 4 groups a day like we do. Some of them run 1 group a day. But that's a lot of hunting pressure on people that are actually hunting, not guys that are going with their family and going to the lake and putting out a dozen decoys. These are guys that are killing birds.
Here's what I think. Go, keep going.
Well, that's what I think, though. I think that we have put in so much more pressure, and it's not just here. It's from the days they leave the egg in Canada to here. It's a solid nonstop of 5 months hunting. Well, all of a sudden, these ducks have found out, you know what? We can go at dark, and there ain't nobody shooting at our ass. And there's food and there's water here for us, and they keep them ice rippers going. So even them ice rippers are running during the middle of the night also. Well,
I think also that we're really, really good at killing.
Right.
Yes, yes.
Effective.
Yes,
effective due to lots of things. Now you'd say, oh no, dude. I mean, back in the 50s, there were guys down in Arkansas that were mashing green. Well, yeah, they hunted over bait too.
Right.
I mean,
and I think they were in the minority.
What I mean? I mean, I'm not saying everybody did. I'm saying that there were also the cases where there were some great regions that you could totally mash, right? But if you take like other regions, especially in the north, where outfitting never was a thing. It was never a thing. It's a total DIY thing on the prairie. Always has been, right? Now, Now you have these guys are tricked out with all the gear, and they're really good at it.
Yeah.
Really good at killing, like massive numbers, right? So I think we need to look at all things and then listen, and then like really listen, not hear some opinion that we don't like or doesn't fit my agenda or my narrative and go, well, fuck you, dude, you're an idiot. No, listen to what people are saying, and then why are we saying this? Why are you saying this? What backs this up? Does science back it up? In many cases, even from like what I see, science doesn't back it up yet.
Right.
It's just what I've seen. It's just what I've seen in my life, right? And Prairie Canada is way different than it was when I was a young man.
Well, it's just like us saying that we don't think that the duck numbers are what they are. Science doesn't back that up, but it's a lot of eyes and a lot of years of experience that are saying no, like we're not seeing what you're reporting that we should be seeing.
How about this, Lee? Also, up north hunting equipment is so much better than it was in the 50s. Guys can hunt in sub-freezing temperatures. Now, they were hardy, tough guys back then, but the average guy wasn't going to hunt when it was 10 below zero because they didn't have all the gear we got now. They didn't have I don't think they had heater buddies back then. They may have. I don't know.
A form of it.
No,
but there's
you wouldn't have been caught dead with a heater, dude.
Right. But,
no.
But nowadays, we've made it so easy from the 4-wheelers that you use, the ATVs, the equipment we use, and that's made it easier to hunt. So it's prolonged the hunting season in so many places. And you can get to places you couldn't get to a long time ago before they built the. What's the guy's name in Louisiana? Coco, Warren Coco. Is that the guy that invented the Go Devil?
Warren Coco
invented the Go Devil.
I think so.
Yeah, that changed hunting in Arkansas and Louisiana.
No question. Here's other things that, like I said, backing up to what I said a little bit earlier. Like we're just good at killing and effective at it. Like really good at it. Right? We can do things that you just weren't able to do before. Okay, here's another thing that's changed big time, and I'm going to take the Northern Prairie, especially Prairie Canada. Okay, they still don't have a grass program, and it's legal to drain. Okay, so back in an area in mid-October, in the salad days of October up there, you could find birds on multiple sloughs in pothole country. Well, those sloughs there's nowhere near the amount of water there used to be in the mid 70s. Not even close. Okay. So instead of 250 to 750 greenheads on all of these little potholes, you eventually wind up with 5 to 20,000 on a big body of water.
Right.
That's not the way it used to be. Right. Okay. So habitat loss, and I'm going to claim this right now. We can fight all kinds of shit. Habitat is still the key. The more habitat we have, the more this is going to even out. But it shrinks, right? So in areas in the South where guys can afford to create habitat, that's how you move. That moves ducks.
Right. So
right.
So basically, ducks. Now, back to the prairie in Canada. What is shrinking the habitat up there? Is it a drought, or you said that they're draining these potholes?
Drain. They drain. They can tile. Yeah.
And it's shrinking.
Yeah, they tile.
We're losing water up there.
It's way different. Oh, probably. I mean, I don't know what the real number would be from mid 70s to now, but there's areas on the prairie, in the prairie pothole region, that were literally, you'd see it from the airplane, looked like Swiss cheese. I mean, it was water everywhere. There still is some areas. I saw, it was a wet year here, maybe 4 or 5 years ago. It was pretty wet, maybe 5, and I was flying into Saskatoon. Yeah, I was flying from Saskatoon, and somewhere halfway between Regina and Saskatoon, there was an area there, and God, it looked so cool. I mean, it was just unbelievable how much water was there. So, I mean, it's still there in pockets, but it's not like it was. And habitat loss is major. The more loss you have, the more you stuff what birds there are into one isolated area. Then you get a handful of trucks and trailers on them, and they don't take that kind of pressure. They just, they don't. But like I said, man, there's lots of topics, and I think they should come up, and I think podcasts and editorial is absolutely the place that it has to start. But I really hope that people are respectful about how they go at one another's opinion, because we need respectful debate.
I think on anything, because this is such a new problem that we're facing as waterfowl hunters. I think that everything should be on the table if we are serious about protecting this sport that we have and passing it on. Then I think everything should be on the table, and I think that everybody should come forth with their ideas, and let's have a discussion.
One of the roadblocks that we're going to find in this is you've got a big faction in southern Louisiana that thinks all their duck numbers are being ruined by all this in up north from them, from Arkansas to Missouri and Iowa, and that flyway right there. But they also have done away from planting grain crops and have started planting a lot more sugar cane, and that's hurt them
in Louisiana.
And they've had the hurricanes have rung all that salt water in, has killed the marshes, and that's hurt them too. And I understand where those guys are coming from, and we haven't had a real winter in a while. If we'd have got this big Arctic front we had last year at the end of November, early December, we would see how close this is, because this would have moved a lot of ducks off those places and get some snow.
Or it should have.
It should have.
We would have
known. We would have had a verdict on it. But one of the problems is going to be is Bubba has made some money doing whatever he did, and he buys 200 acres off the Platte River somewhere, and he plants 100 acres of corn, and he's got millions of dollars, and that's his place to go hunt and live his life. That's his dream. Just like it is my dream would be to own an NFL franchise or whatever it would be one day. That's his dream. You're going to have hell getting that guy to quit planting or flooding corn, because that's his God-given right on his property, and it's going to have to come with some kind of law to change that. And it's going to take a decade of nobody doing that to get things back to somewhat normal. Lee, we were lucky. Me and you got to hunt and grow up during the golden years of waterfowl hunting, I think.
Mm-hmm. Well, the 70s were they were crazy good.
I mean, I grew up with a $10.
The opportunity as a DIY back then, as a DIY guy, was unreal.